Today we are going to do something very different and talk about my experience with the shonen community and terrible takes. Growing up, I was very much the type of person to enjoy anime in peace. I wasn't one to interact in online discussions, and as such was pretty much absent from all sorts of discourse that went on during the era of the big three being serialized weekly, with it now just being One Piece. From the content creators I would watch, however, you would always hear one reoccurring take amongst them, being that the anime community is terrible. They would not dare try to debate amongst any fandom and its fans, and it wasn't until I was older that I realized that the shonen anime community especially is truly the birthplace of terrible takes, controversy, and rapid dogpiling. I'm not saying that all the other genres and demographics are immune to this type of behavior from fans, but majority of the time, it really is the shonen community. You don't hear a peep from shoujo fans and romance fans being involved in controversy, and sports fans are literally vibing all the time. Fantasy has always been a hit or miss for people, and the most it'll come down to is seinen fans going at it with shonen fans on some superiority nonsense, because I guess things like Berserk can't be critiqued. Now let me put this in a broader perspective. My Hero Academia is the first series that got me to interact with the shonen community, God bless it not being well triggered, because I think I would lose my mind by now. The reason why I got on things like Twitter and even beginning content creation was simply because I wanted to find more people to share that joy of enjoyment. Little did I know that trying to engage with such a large community was going to be the biggest task of a lifetime. See, the first thing I expected people to be was factually modest in their arguments. If you were going to debate something, come with the facts and try to win it, and oh my god, was I so painfully naive to think that. See, 4 years ago, it was constant back and forth between My Hero Academia and Black Clover. The root of it all coming from constant, non-stop comparisons. See, I get that everyone is going to have personal pride as a fan in their series and will gas things up when they can to spread the hype and awareness. However, the amount of downplay people do towards any series that isn't their own favorite is absolutely insane. I've seen takes from My Hero Academia has no world building and Deku didn't work to earn one for all, to Black Clover is just magic Naruto, and it leaves me utterly flabbergasted. You ever see a tweet that makes you wonder what is going on inside somebody's head that makes them type and send out a message? Because I see them almost every day. It was already bad enough with MHA and Black Clover going at it, and then Demon Slayer into the fray with its animation, and now we have the carry by animation take. It's already bad enough that the misconception of budget equals better animation take is so deeply rooted that it's practically irreversible, and Ufotable keeps cooking so much that it won't go away. Genuinely, that's probably the one take that is so bad it should be a crime to say it. People do not realize just how long it takes for animators to make a single scene, and them getting money thrown in front of them does not make anything be drawn faster, but you know what? I'm not gonna do it today. Instead, we're gonna move on to when JJK entered the fray, because my god, did the triangle of comparisons finally complete. We've gotten the take that Gojo is a ripoff Kakashi, Sakuna and Yuji is the better inner demon trope than Asta and Libe or Naruto and Kurama, and the cream of the crop, JJK woman is some of the best woman writing in shonen yet. When I tell you guys that this was like a 5-star meal of pure buffoonery, I mean it. How much worse could these takes get over time is a question that I am constantly surprised with, because it genuinely just keeps on getting worse. Chainsaw Man has caught the most random strays with people saying Denji is a misogynist. I'm not getting into it, but yeah, this is where we are now. Now, this whole time, I've been talking about comparisons and all sorts of reaches, but let's talk about the good old revisionist history. It's always okay to come back to an anime or a moment and look at it in a new light. Revisionism isn't inherently bad in this medium, because not all the time will you watch an anime and understand everything completely for the first time. However, the shonen community has this perfect formula to craft terrible takes from hell itself. How about we start with Boruto? I've seen people say that Boruto is better than Naruto, and if you think that's bad, then how about Boruto being the best new gen anime? Actually, let's sidetrack for a second. Do people not understand what is defined as new gen versus old gen? Heck, who even coined the term new gen anime? Why do we have these templates asking what is the best new gen series with many of these stories literally in their final arcs? Black Clover is in their final war arc, My Hero Academia is in their final war, and Jujutsu Kaisen is literally on a speed run to the end. Just because the conversation around the series may still be relevant doesn't mean it's new gen, but then again, how else are folks gonna get that traction, right? Game is game, I can't even hate. Getting back on track, I've also seen people try to sub Boruto with Bleach as the true big three, and Bleach by far has definitely had the more controversial terrible takes to come from it. I'm gonna establish this now, but again, I am an anime only for Bleach, and feel free to go watch my thoughts on Core 1 of the 1000-Year Blood War with the link in the description, but god is this series a big old punching bag. I don't know who Kubo offended, but growing up, I would always hear Bleach being put down. These days, one of the biggest controversial takes I hear about Bleach is that it is purely a meathead series and it is not as deep as people make it. Personally, I find it incredible that the lore of One Piece can be deep and the lore of the Ninja World can be deep, but for some reason, because Bankais are raw, that their significance can't be deepened for their real meaning of understanding oneself, and the certain moments of philosophy for certain characters are just completely overlooked. I mean, there is no way anybody could watch the Blade is Me episode and still think that Bleach is just purely meathead. There is some ground to cover with Bleach outside of the fights, and even though I'm not some hardcore Bleach fan, the downplay is insane. Do you know how crazy you gotta be to make me fend for a series that's not even in my top 10? While we're on topics revolving around the big three, did you guys know that One Piece fans, and just for the record, not all fans, but a certain majority of fans are harassing animators over the auras included in Wano? The takes from these fans are literally blaming animators like Henry Thurlow, and the man is just doing his job. It's incredibly sad because people have no one else to blame but the people who put out the product and not the ones who call the bigger shots. I already expect the Gear 5 debut to look like a whole movie, and God forbid the aura conversation comes into play because people are going to call that moment bad, and yet here I am, an anime only, still getting excited for it. Incoming trigger warning because I know I'm about to piss some people off, but I think the funniest take that came from the reveal was that it was iconic and let alone on the level of Super Saiyan. I wish I had this level of audacity to say something like Deku 100% is better than Super Saiyan Blue, because at that point I know I will be an unstoppable force of nature. I don't know what it is with people trying to chase iconic moments, but newsflash, for something to be determined as iconic, it usually involves a certain level of recognition across the world, and I guarantee you the average kid knows what a Rasengan and a Kamehameha is, and a Gomu Gomu know anything. You can't just simply declare something as iconic just because you're a fan. It comes through acknowledgement, and I beg One Piece fans to put the copium down and be for real. While we're here, let me go ahead and drop my own take that One Piece is not the untouchable piece of media that people claim for it to be. Which, by the way, is okay because people are not perfect, but Oda has had some serious misses in Wano, and the fact that Kinemon is still alive, Oda, I know what you are. Now, outside of the fact that there are so many terrible takes and the list just keeps on growing every day, the point is, terrible takes won't stop. At the end of the day, bad takes, good takes, critique, and all the above are just part of the experience of being an anime fan. Enjoyment is subjective, and how people receive an anime and choose to display their understanding will also differ as well. There is always going to be someone with a different understanding and interpretation of a moment or arc within a series, the same way there will always be somebody claiming a climatic arc is better than another, and that's what typically contributes to the endless debates. At the same time, there are always going to be people who contribute absolutely nothing to the conversation and thrive off of garbage takes and nonsensical comparisons, and you know what? Good on them. No amount of ratios or YouTubers putting their tweets in a video will make it stop, and quite frankly, we need these types of people to keep the foolishness going, because how else are we going to get a good laugh and keep the debates going? Of course, minus the people who harass animators or authors, because those people are genuine garbage. I feel like people react very impulsively and angrily online over something as simple as a difference in opinion or take, and sometimes it's better to remember that you can disconnect and things will be okay. Majority of the time, people truly don't know what they're talking about when it comes to the animation process especially, and manga is always going to show that people are going to keep having bad takes based off their own taste. It's also helpful to remember that anime is always going to pull younger audiences in, so somebody who is growing up on things like Black Clover or JJK might not understand the impact of the big three, but that is simply how it goes. There's no doubt that it can get very annoying, but the shonen community proudly wears that annoying badge with pride with all the different series that make an impact. As Giguk said before, you say you enjoy a show and you're getting jumped. You say you don't enjoy a show, you're getting jumped. You say a show is mid and the FBI will be at your front house in a heartbeat, ready to throw you in a cell for the rest of your life. You critique a show or compare it to another series and the entire anime community will be dunking on you in unimaginable ways. But hey, at the end of the day, we all have our own bad takes that may never see the light of day, and as I said before, that's just part of the experience with the shonen community especially, so do yourself a favor and lighten up. That's pretty much it for me though. Very different video, I know, but I wanted to try something a little bit more amusing, and hopefully you all enjoyed this. As always, thank you for watching, and make sure to drop your terrible takes in the comment section down below. Stay safe out there, and I will catch you guys in the next video.